Hi, this is Chef Rick, and today I'm going to be cooking meatballs in a vodka sauce.
Right, off we go. We'll start with the meatballs. First thing there is a handful of parsley, which I'm just going to chop finely. I'll go more into that sort of chopping technique in a minute, but how easy it is to do. Basically, you hold the tip of the knife down on a board, lift up the base of the knife, just keep working back and forth until you get really nicely finely chopped. Parsley into a frying pan on medium heat. Diced onion, olive oil of course, diced onion. Work this for about 5 minutes. We're softening the onion, that is all. You don't want it to catch and start to caramelize or really overcook. You just want it to soften. It's going to take on some colour from the olive oil. You can see it's got some colour there. We're just going to move it over to the side. 3 cloves of garlic. Here's how I chop garlic, so I will kind of smash it with the back of a knife, flatten it. And then, just like with the parsley, holding the tip of the blade down on the chopping board and just working the knife. That's not how I normally chop. That's very over-exaggerated to show you sort of how I do it, but it makes sense. You keep working back and forth, scraping it together. There's your minced garlic. That's just a ciabatta roll, but any bread would really do here. This is to make breadcrumbs, so you can see I've just torn it up, put it in the oven. Cooked it in the oven for about 10 minutes. Into a blender. Food processor, whatever you've got to make breadcrumbs. These breadcrumbs will be a little bit moist, so back into the tin, in the oven again for about 10 minutes, and they're nice toasted breadcrumbs, lovely and crisp. Breadcrumbs in a bowl, you add whole milk, mix it all around, and those breadcrumbs are going to really absorb the milk and make sure that these meatballs are lovely and moist. You'll see the texture of those in a minute. Into a bowl, beef and pork mince. See the breadcrumbs now, how they are with the milk? Now it's all absorbed. So the breadcrumb and milk mixture goes into the bowl, along with 2 eggs, Parmesan cheese grated, the onions that we cooked earlier and softened, the minced garlic and parsley. That's Italian herbs, just a normal pot of Italian herbs from the supermarket. Chili flakes, salt, black pepper, and now we mix it all together. I think I'll speed this up in a moment, but I just wanted to show you this. We'll get your hands in there. If you want to use a spoon, use a spoon. If you're not comfortable using your hands, or if you want to wear gloves or whatever, but just, like I always say, your hands are just such an amazing tool in the kitchen. You just want to mix all this together, and you feel like you're totally in control if you're using your hands. And of course, you just wash them straight afterwards. So, you know, what's the big deal? Get your hands in there. Here we go. That's obviously sped up, just so you can see how it all slowly comes together. Just keep working around the bottom of the bowl, mixing it all together. Don't overwork it, but we want to make sure everything is absolutely combined. That's it. That's your meatball mixture. Cover it with ideally cling film. I didn't have any cling film here, so I just used a bit of tin foil. But just cover that with anything you want: cling film, tin foil. Into the fridge. Onto a baking tray. This is totally cooled in the fridge now. Your meatball mixture. That's a baking tray lined with tin foil and now rubbed with olive oil as usual. Kind of over rubbed it. There's the mixture. It's rested. It's been over an hour. Use wet hands and form it into meatballs. The camera cut off in a second, but I promise you I did the whole tray full of these. I make mine about the size of a golf ball. Any size will do. In the oven, all instructions in there. So once they've roasted in the oven, on the baking tray, everything that's come out of there is obviously a bit of liquid, a bit of the Parmesan cheese, etc. But once you take them off the baking sheet, you'll see that they're absolutely perfect, super moist. At this stage, yeah, you could eat them, you could do anything with them, but we're going to put them into a sauce, so they're going to combine even more flavour. So now let's make that sauce. Into a pan, turn the wrong heat on there. Medium heat. More chopped onions, just as before. We're going to soften them in the olive oil. Just keep working those onions. Chili flakes. They'll start getting a bit fragrant. This is a low to medium heat, so you don't want all this cooking. You certainly don't want chili flakes to burn. There you go, that's a can of chopped tomatoes and a healthy measure of vodka. Don't be afraid that this is vodka sauce. You're boiling off all the alcohol right now, and it just adds something in the background. If you had this, you'd be, well, when you have this, in fact, you'll know it's vodka sauce because you've made it, but people try it, they kind of go, what's that? What's that? I can't tell. It's amazing. What's that taste? No one guesses that it's vodka, so you're not going to have an overwhelming taste of vodka. It just gives a background, an amazing background, I will say, but don't worry at all about the vodka in there. So I'm just going to leave that on the side now to cook away. All that steam coming off is both water and the alcohol from the vodka, so you're getting rid of the alcohol there. In this early stage of the sauce, you're making more of a paste, if you like. And on that note, there's some tomato paste going in, tomato puree. Salt, we put the salt and pepper in at that point, not at the beginning. Because again, it can taste a little bit bitter if you add pepper at the beginning, and the salt will suck out too much moisture. You want that moisture to boil off along with the alcohol. You can see how thick that is. A little bit of red wine vinegar, just a splash. Just to thin it down a tiny bit, but you still want this to be thick. This is a paste. This is a base paste that we're going to turn into an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous sauce. The smells at this point, as always, are amazing. It's like an undertone of alcohol somewhere in the air, but it's all coming off. Basil leaves going at this point, and we just want to get them covered. As soon as that sauce starts to cover them, they'll wilt and shrink a little bit. But you'll see in a moment we're going to blend this sauce now to make it. We're going to blend this paste just to make it a little thinner. See how thick that is? It's going absolutely nowhere in a pan anymore. It's not really a liquid. Get that thick paste into the blender. Whiz it now until smooth. Go, just as usual with my blender, help it along a little bit if it needs it, and that'll catch all of a sudden. Thin that down with some water. You don't want this to go really, really runny. You just want it to make sure that blender's catching and it's become a really, really smooth paste. That lovely smooth paste goes into the pan, into a saucepan. And we're going to add our single cream. You can be really naughty and add double cream. You can add half and half. If you ever see half and half, that just means half single cream, half milk. Use it in a lot of cocktails. I just think single cream goes really, really well. Add it bit by bit. You just feel like you're in control of it. You see as you mix it round, the colour's going to start to change. The sauce is going to thin out. It's still going to be a very thick sauce at this point, but yeah, still add that cream bit by bit. It just goes this lovely orangey colour. The last of the single cream. You see how smooth it is? It's gorgeous, gorgeous sauce this. Taste it, see if you think it needs anything else. Does it need any? Really, you're tasting it for seasoning at that point. Now we're going to add the meatballs to the sauce. Sped up, obviously. Put all the meatballs in the sauce. Stir them round. Now I like to now stick this on the side and let it sit. You're adding that whilst the sauce is hot, or whilst that kind of thick, very thick sauce is hot. Leave that on the side now to relax. Now this is later on. You can see I've got some pasta. I've just got some tagliatelle cooking there. With any Italian sauce, one of the key ingredients is the water from the pasta. That water's got that pasta flavour in there, that starchiness to it, the salt. It's a salt water that you cook things in. Use the water to thin the sauce, or to get the sauce to the consistency that you want it. Because right now you can see how thick that is as I'm working it round. Add it bit by bit. If you just poured a load in, you don't know what you're going to end up with. So just as with anything, just add bit by bit, then you're totally in control. So you see, I thought I needed a little bit more, just another ladle at a time, and just keep working it. And this sauce is now, I mean, it's just lovely. It's making me hungry watching it. But yeah, the sauce is going to start to get to the sort of consistency that you want. Whenever you finish cooking pasta in a sauce, I put it in a colander, or drain it into a colander, and then quickly put it back over the saucepan that I cooked it in, so that any remaining pasta water goes into the bottom, and then if I need it, which you'll see that I do in a minute with this, I've got it there, I've got it to hand. And now just start to add your pasta. Put your pasta into the saucepan. I probably could have used a much bigger saucepan here, but and again, just like adding anything, just add bit by bit. Mix it all around carefully. Whenever pasta goes into a sauce, the sauce thickens. It always does, because obviously that pasta's soaking up some of the sauce and some of the liquids. Just keep working it round. I'm making this portion for two here, so I just knew that I needed enough pasta for two. Again, change this recipe to suit you and how many people you're cooking it for. And I've still got plenty of sauce in there. At this stage, what's in that saucepan there is kind of going to be what's going straight into your bowl. So if you feel that you want a little bit more pasta in there, or you want it to be a little bit saucier, add it. Nothing wrong with it. This is a strong, punchy sauce, so you're not gonna weaken it by adding any more of that pasta water. Which you'll see in a moment. I definitely do, because I'm looking at it, and I'm feeling it. And I'm like, yeah, the sauce is just a little bit thick for me at this point. That mixture, if I put that on someone's plate, it's borderline, just a touch too thick. So you see that lovely water there. I'll just add a splash more, a tiny bit splash more. Work it round, it all joins in together, and it just becomes absolutely perfect. Then I'm looking at it like, yeah, got it. This is absolutely perfect consistency for me. This is just how I like it. It's obviously all nice and hot. The pan that I'm stirring there, by the way, is on a very, very, very low heat, because every time it's already hot. You don't want to start cooking this. And then we plate it up into a pasta bowl, a warm pasta bowl, of course. Be as neat as you can with this. Get it in the middle. If you do get blobs or whatever around the outside, just wipe them off with a tea towel. Sure, there's always a meatball visible on the top. I don't think they're being shortchanged. A little bit of torn basil. I should have chopped this in advance, really, but I was just ripping it up here. I kind of forgot about it, so it's a bit slower process than normal, but a little bit of chopped basil on the top. Sprinkling of Parmesan. Some extra virgin olive oil. And that's it. Tagliatelle meatballs in a vodka sauce. One of my favourite Italian dishes that there is. It's not for the faint of heart. It's obviously quite strong in flavour, but it's amazing. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please hit like. If you want to see more from me, click subscribe. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you on the next video.